Good afternoon, good morning. It's Mark Johnson from Loyalty360. Hope everyone's happy, safe, and well. Welcome back to our Leaders in Customer Loyalty series. In this series, we talk to the leading brands about what they are seeing on the front lines of customer, channel, and brand loyalty. Today, we have the pleasure of speaking with two guests from Giant Food, Ryan Draude, who is the head of loyalty and digital, and Melanie Butler, who is the manager of CSM and loyalty strategy. Giant Food is a retailer in the Washington, D.C., Virginia, Maryland, Delaware area, I think, with about 160-ish stores across the market.
Yep.
And last year, Giant Food won a silver award in the loyalty program design category at the Loyalty360 annual award. So it's great catching up with both of you guys. How are you? That's good. I like that. Good.
Yeah, we love showing off the hardware. Incredibly proud of this, Mark, and thank you for everything Loyalty360 has done to make opportunities like this available. I think it really motivates all of us to do our best and to have that competitive spot for us to not only share, but to compete is a wonderful opportunity. So thank you. We're very proud of this.
Absolutely great. And we're hoping we get to do it in person this year. If hopefully the trends keep getting everyone healthy and we can all get together in person and do it. So if you can
yeah, would love that. Looking forward to it.
All right. So good here. Good way to start this off. Bring smile on everyone's faces, I guess, plural. One of the things we like to do is get a little bit of information about what you do within your organization and also maybe a little fun fact. So Melanie and Ryan, it'd be great to get a little information on you, kind of your roles at the organization. Also maybe a fun fact. Do you like to ski? Do you have 400 kids? What is there?
Yeah, sure. So as a CSM and loyalty strategy manager, I have a wonderful team that, helps to plan and execute basically all of our customer specific marketing channels, including email, direct mail. We're starting to hopefully get into some push notifications and SMS here in the future. And really, as well as our forward thinking approach to how we compete within loyalty and our loyalty framework. And driving the benefits and communications to our customers. So it's very exciting, it's very dynamic, and it's just a part of our business that just continues to grow. So it's a very exciting area to be in. And I work directly underneath Ryan, so that's another great thing. A fun fact about me, so 2 weeks ago, I celebrated my son's first birthday, which was wonderful. And what's so crazy is just that, basically he was born right around 2 weeks after COVID really hit. So it was a very interesting first year of life, but I would not have changed anything about it. So he brought so much joy in this crazy, crazy year. So that was my fun fact.
That's good. That's, the first, as you know, 3, 4, 5 weeks that can be challenging until they start to smile. So with COVID and no smiling, they're probably, but once they start smiling, it's all worth it. Until they teenagers and it all kind of teenagers again, but different story. All right, Mr. Ryan, fun fact about you and kind of your role at Giant Foods.
Yeah, sure. So the role, overseeing loyalty and digital, so it's a fun and challenging role. And I mean, COVID has just, moved everything forward at such a rapid pace, especially on the digital front. The digital responsibility is really around growing not only our e-com business, pickup and delivery, which really came front and center after COVID took impact, but also looking at the overall site experience with the marketing and the monetized content and trying to make sure that not only we're getting folks to engage on the site, but also that the site is an extension of the store and of the relationship that we have with customers. And that's not easy. Often, the website, lacks that soul, so to speak. And so we're really trying to make sure that when someone comes to Giant, whether it's through the app or through our website, they feel like they're engaging, with a real brand and with real people, and so really trying to extend that experience. On the loyalty front, it's all about building a long-term relationship. I mean, that is the heart and soul of what loyalty really is. It's finding folks, building that spend relationship, retaining it, growing it, hopefully, but then also defending it and extending it over a long period of time. And I think that's why I love loyalty so much, is that I started out in direct marketing. It was really about just getting folks to come in. It was kind of that hunter mentality. But with loyalty, it's the long-term relationship. It's extending that over this customer journey and making sure there's the right message at the right time. So absolutely fascinated by this business and just continue to delight working within it on a day-to-day basis. From a fun fact point of view, I don't know if it's fun or nerdy. I teach loyalty strategy at Georgetown University. So not only is this my day-to-day, but also something that I enjoy doing within my free time. So I get to bore to tears the next generation of loyalty strategists with my war stories and what I've learned so far. But I really enjoy teaching on it as well.
That's awesome. I've been offered a couple opportunities to teach. I just don't have the time with 4 kids and
Trust me, I get it. Yeah, hopefully you do if you get a chance. It's very rewarding. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's definitely on the horizon. I'm definitely going to do that. So, for those who don't know what Giant Foods does, can you tell us a little bit what you guys are, how you do it, and where you do it?
No problem. Yeah, I'll jump in on this one. It's really a fascinating story, Mark. We are a local grocery. We were born in DC about 85 years ago, actually. So we really came up through this area, and we've been a part of mid-Atlantic neighborhoods ever since in DC, Maryland, Virginia, and Delaware. And as you mentioned when we started, we have about 164, 165 stores. So we have that local, story and connection with the neighborhood, but we're also part of one of the largest and most innovative global grocery entities, Ahold Delhaize, which purchased Giant back in 1998, I believe it is. But Ahold serves customers in 11 countries around the world. I think they have about 6,500 stores. So they really know grocery inside and out. So it's wonderful that we have the backing of a very cutting edge global grocery perspective via Ahold, but we have been in this community since day one. And I really think that's so much of where our val prop and our differentiation is that, we are part of the neighborhood. Our associates are in the communities, and we've been here for such a long period of time. And so I love that, while we have that global perspective, we also have this local spirit of community and service that really reflects in everything that we do as well.
Absolutely, and I think one of the things for those who don't know, you have a number of sister brands that you compete and share with, but it's kind of a unique relationship. I'd love to if you could talk about it a little bit. You have even kind of a development lab, Peapod Digital, that you engage with too, but you guys have kind of like a friendly co-opetition between the brands, right?
Yeah. It's, on that front, there are 5 brands that are under the overall Ahold US umbrella. And so that includes us, Giant, which is our reference is in the mid-Atlantic area. There's also the Giant Company, which is just north of us, and their primary footprint is in Pennsylvania. If you go south of us, Food Lion, which is a very large chain down in the south, but also kind of creeps up into Virginia. So there is a little bit of overlap sometimes. And if you ever talk to the Food Lion guys, we're competing against with them on the peripheral just a little bit. And then the other 2 brands that we have are Stop and Shop. Up in the Northeast, which is up in the New Jersey, New York, Connecticut area, and then Hannaford's Foods, which is even more north, up in like the Maine and kind of the New England area. So 5 unique brands, sometimes a little bit of an overlap competing against each other, but all generally working together to try to serve the grocery needs of, basically the Eastern Seaboard. And then as you referenced, we have a third-party entity called Peapod Digital Labs. And some folks might recognize Peapod because Peapod was one of the innovators in the e-commerce world, one of the first companies, offering delivery and pickup services, and they were based out of Chicago. They have morphed more into the backbone of our e-commerce support and really helping us to look at strategy around how we serve that growing business and really doing wonderful things as it comes to segmentation, extending the e-commerce business model, looking at digital assortment, and really the operational efficiency of what we do on a day-to-day basis. So almost like a digital consultancy, they really help us understand the best practices and where we need to invest from an e-commerce point of view.
Absolutely. In 2020, you and I were talking a little bit before we kind of got on here. You definitely evolved your program. You had a legacy gas program that's kind of still in play. We pushed it more and more towards kind of complete digital program. So there's obviously some unique challenges and opportunities with that. I'd love to hear about some of the improvements you made in 2020 and how you came to implement them, especially during a time of COVID, correct?
Yep. Yeah. It was definitely an exciting year, and there were many challenges. So we basically launched our flexible rewards program right around the same time that COVID hit. So we launched, early March, and COVID hit, late March, early April. Really, we saw the big impact start. But as you had mentioned, so basically, let's start out with what Gas Rewards was. Gas Rewards was our legacy program. It drove our customers to shop more, gain incentives through, their purchase behaviors in store. They would earn 1 point for every $1 spent, and then they would be able to redeem those points directly at the gas pump, which is a great benefit for them. And this is something that the legacy Ahold companies all were utilizing. So Stop and Shop, the Giant company, and Giant Food, we're all utilizing this. And then as we were really looking to progress our loyalty benefits, it was a very big opportunity, especially within our market, because we have such a different and diverse market than the Central PA company or the Giant company in their Pennsylvania market. We live in a more urban areas. Our customers are a little bit more transitory. They're taking public transportation, so gas isn't as relevant for them. And so what Flexible Rewards really did was it allowed customers to use their points on what made the most sense for their lifestyle. So now we are offering not only gas rewards at the same benefit that the legacy gas rewards program offered, but we're also offering customers the opportunity to use their points on savings on groceries in our stores. So it's kind of closing that loyalty loop and driving customers back into our stores and providing that additional benefit for them. And as you had mentioned, the legacy gas program was kind of a passive program. You would just earn the points, go directly to the pump. The Flexible Rewards program does require that online engagement where you kind of choose how you use your points, but you're also getting an additional benefit of earning more points through Flexible Rewards with personalized offers and additional mass offers that are in the ad and online every week that the legacy gas program did not offer.
Okay. You talk about maybe the new value proposition as you went digital. You more focus on greater focus on personalization, obviously, being able to kind of motivate and engage the audience. Talk about some of the new benefits you have, and then maybe what you still see with the legacy program.
Ryan, I can take this on because it kind of just ladders into what I was talking about previously. But really, it's I see it as twofold. One, it is very much we're helping you earn more points faster. So the legacy gas program, you really only had that base earn of 1 point for every $1 spent. Flexible Rewards, you still have that, but you're also getting those additional personalized offers. You're getting more of those mass offers. We're just building out more opportunities for you to earn points even faster. So building that legacy and incentive relationship. But then it is also about being able to choose your rewards. It's not just gas anymore. It's having the benefit of grocery free offers or free product. And then we're also introducing things like donating to local charities. So you can donate your points. Let's say 100 points is $1, 500 points is $5, 1,000 points is $10 to charities that really benefit our communities. And we're looking at how to work with additional partners to really expand that also into the future. Ryan, feel free to jump in if there's anything else that you feel.
No, I mean, I think you nailed it, and really just look at the name of the program, Mark, Flexible Rewards. We really want to live up to the name, this idea that whatever our customers need, there's a benefit that we can provide that makes sense, and really trying to think of, their drive to the store while they're at the store, their drive home, whether they're engaging with us or not, how do we add value to their day-to-day life? And so bringing the value back into our store was mission critical. We love our gas relationship, but at the end of the day, just like an airline, their primary redemption is for a free flight, or a hotel is for a free night at the hotel. Our primary redemption should see folks coming back to our store and being able to get value on their future savings with Giant, or getting free items as well. So that idea of closing the loyalty loop, like Mel said, was just mission critical, that they associate both on the earn and redeem side with that direct relationship with Giant. But we're very excited about where the program is going to go toward that idea of flexibility and even more options, that depending on what they need at any given point in time, there is a reward that really makes sense for them to be able to engage with.
Okay, absolutely. You mentioned partnerships. Partnerships are very important to our audience. We do a ton of introductions between brands, whether it's a shoe company and an airline and a food company. They're looking for ways to create partnerships that are symbiotic and mutually beneficial, right? And obviously, you have partnerships with CPG companies that fund you, but also, you could do a partnership potentially with Adidas potentially, or a clothing manufacturer, American Eagle, or what have you. How do you guys look at partnerships? It sounds like it's something that's going to be more important going forward. What does that mean to you, and what will that mean to the program?
Yeah. I think there's been a deep foundation of partnership engagement with this program for the past 2 decades. I mean, look at the gas relationship. At a certain point in time, someone very smart realized, our customers need to get to our store. Why not reward them with savings toward one of the most relevant day-to-day costs that they have, and created that gas relationship, which we have with fuel rewards right now, which allows us to be able to redeem points at Shell stations. But that type of thinking, needs to continue to evolve, because when you look at our footprint, not everyone drives. DC is becoming a much more congested area. A lot of folks live in the city, closer to mass transit, and there needs to be opportunities for them to be able to engage with things above and beyond gas. So we look at the partnership opportunities very seriously, and without kind of tipping, our hat, so to speak, with some of the direction. One of the best things that we do, Mark, is we just go out and talk to our customers and say, at the end of the day, what are the companies that you see the most value with engaging with on a day-to-day basis? And so they tell us where they go get a cup of coffee, how they like to travel, the type of things that they stream online. And we look at these partnerships and say, you know what? We think that we can be a part of that at the right level to maybe give our currency more flexibility in the future to engage with those type of partners. So if they're coming to our store, our currency may be a part of how we got them there. Or maybe, with what they did after the fact, to go get something to eat or drink a coffee, or even above and beyond when they're engaging with us. The fact that maybe we can help pay down a streaming service. A loyalty relationship is always great when they're directly involved with you, but that's not always going to be the case. And if our currency can be valuable to them, even above and beyond where they thought of us at some point in time when they're not directly engaged with Giant, that is incredibly powerful, to give them another reason to shop with us. And Mark, the way that we always look at it is, if a competitor opened a half a mile closer to where they lived, would they drive that extra half mile to our store? And we think our loyalty program could be a compelling enough reason to say, I've built up this value, I'm continuing to get something from it that would motivate them to continue to have that way of thinking.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and just to add on to that a little bit, historically, Giant Food has just been so, has deep roots within our community. And so one of the things that we do the most is partnerships with our community. And so finding ways to continue that aspect and help our customers. We hear this a lot. How can our customers give back to the community through us? We have so many different programs that are out there right now. It's just a natural fit to tie it into our loyalty program as well.
Absolutely. When you look at customers are changing. We've heard that a lot. It's kind of a topic we have in small-sided meetings and in brand conversations. How do you think your customers are changing? I was actually in Pittsburgh over the weekend for a soccer tournament, and the local grocery here in Cincinnati does a lot of delivery, but I just saw a huge number of green cards going to the store. I'd never really seen it at my grocer here in Cincinnati. So, how are your customers changing, and kind of how do you expect that change to potentially last going through and maybe after COVID?
Yeah. So it's an interesting area, I think, within grocery. We have so many different groups of customers. So right now, our primary customers are within a certain demographic, and that could change over the next few years. So really, what our focus is how do we acquire and bring on customers, not only into our stores in general, but into our loyalty program who aren't shopping with us currently. So, so that we can build that relationship. And as these, young, millennial Gen Z shoppers are coming into our area and, building homes and finding careers within this area, they're seeing us as their grocery store of choice.
Right.
I think that's a big area of opportunity for us, and really looking also now as COVID kind of restrictions relax a little bit and hopefully we start to see that level of normalcy. How do our communication efforts kind of change with those shoppers? How do we re-engage shoppers? How do we continue to communicate with those shoppers who either we've seen, have had to make decisions to go somewhere else because they were trying to limit their exposure, or how do we keep those customers who chose us as their primary location, and how do we continue to build and nurture those relationships across their entire journey.
Absolutely.
Ryan, feel free to jump in and add any additional color there.
No, perfectly said. Thank you.
When you look at technology, very important now as well. Getting the right technology. You have Peapod, but you also bring a lot of technology in yourself. How important is that in kind of the personalization, the communication, the automation, and just the efficacy you have with your customer loyalty program? And how do you manage that? That can be a big challenge for one.
Yeah, it is. So I really look at it in two ways, Mark, which is, I think, fascinating within the grocery world. You can look at personalization in terms of offer personalization and in terms of content personalization. Yep. So where grocery, I think, is absolutely fantastic is on the offer side of personalization. By nature of that loyalty relationship, there's such an ocean of analytics, that really support, how, when, where you shop, the number of categories shopped, the recency of it, how that changes whether you go online or brick and mortar, and our ability to come back and look at that and be able to say, what we think Mark needs right now is an offer around this product. It blows my mind just with how deep the analytic firepower is behind understanding and predicting spend moving forward and the type of offers that should go with it. Where I think every grocery struggle may be a tough word, but I really think maybe it's more the opportunity is content personalization. And here's what I mean by that. If you, myself, Tim, Mel, anyone watching this podcast went to Giant Food, you're going to get the same experience. If you went to our app, you're going to see the same experience. And for the majority of grocery competitors, that's an issue that they have, is that while we can serve up offers to you that really reflect your spend behavior, based upon how you engage with us, Mark, you may be, a vegan shopper, you're gluten-free, or, we know you have kids, or, or maybe not. But the fact is, being able to serve content that educates you, that gives you guidance on recipes, but really feels more like your personalized hub is where the challenge is of capturing that type of preference information and turning that into content that really helps reward, educates you, and makes Giant more of a trusted advisor for how you shop rather than just a merchant. So personalization, it's a buzzword, it's a big word. But again, we try to separate it from an offer point of view. We feel that we can predict what we should give you, but it's really more of that relationship and trying to counsel for recipes, for nutrition, that we see as the opportunity to really give you more of your story in the future.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and on top of that, it's also just making sure that you're making your shoppers feel valued and special, and like you understand what they need and what they want. And again, you're not only delivering that via the offers, but you're delivering that through, the communication strategy, not even just the content. It's the channel of choice, and what is the best way to contact them and communicate with them.
It would seem that you was talking about some of the opportunities you have, like with vegans or and shopping and being, you have a great deal of people that are very health conscious as well. And little communities may be something that you guys could have an interest in. People who may be bakers, people who may have an interest in barbecuing, because I think you guys obviously do a great job of kind of personalizing the offer as you can. But it would seem that you would almost have like an infinite number of kind of communities potentially depending on what people's passion points may be.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's something that, we are looking at how we can evolve that in the future. We're taking, I will say, little baby steps, really focusing on things that are a little bit easier to grasp, vegan, vegetarian versus meat. So something within our summer campaigns, you'll see that a lot. We're really trying to deliver the content that is most relevant to our shoppers, but it's also about building out a preference center from a technology standpoint and collecting the data that we need to better communicate with our shoppers. So that's a technology component that is something that our, Peapod Digital Lab teams are helping us to kind of innovate and hopefully offer up in the near future.
Absolutely. A couple more questions. When you look at measurement's more important than ever for What KPIs do you guys use? Do you like, and are there some KPIs that maybe you would like to have more information on, maybe some industry KPIs do you think would be helpful?
Yeah, so the way that we typically use it, we use kind of a three-pillar approach. It's acquire, activate, and engage. So really looking at the analytics around the pipeline and bringing in new enrollments, then the analytics around how folks are spending and actually engaging with us from a transaction perspective. But then that final pillar, engage, is really more of, do they like us? Are they advocates for us? And the metrics that surround that. So the lens that we use really falls into those three pillars. I would say I think where the most opportunity is probably within that second and the third, the activate and the engage pillars, because honestly, the model is changing so much. So much more of our market is going online to have that digital relationship, and being able to capture kind of the issues or the opportunities around making that move are something that we admittedly need to jump more into to really understand the how and why behind getting folks more engaged on that front. Within the activate pillar, that idea of kind of the day-to-day transactional aspect, one of the most interesting ones for us is with our flexible rewards currency. How are folks using it in terms of either between gasoline or grocery, and how that can be so different based upon where folks live? The folks that are more rural and have cars have a much higher engagement toward gasoline, while those that may be more in the city or access to mass transit, you see the grocery redemptions pop up. And of course, in our business, what's more paramount than anything else is cost per point, the CPP, and how that can change very significantly based upon the different populations using that. So we watch that like hawks to really understand where the opportunity is to try to get folks more motivated in one versus the other based upon the associated cost per point. But, in terms of overall help and support, I think it's one of those where we're looking at incremental spend and defend to spend. Those are really the other bell marks of a very sound loyalty program. So Mark, anything on that front from an analytics point of view, where we're able to get members to spend more above and beyond where they're at, but even more importantly, coming out of COVID to defend their spend, and really the best tactics around that are the right metrics. So we're all ears on that front.
Oh, good. All right. Working on some, hopefully we'll get those over soon. And looking forward to that, and obviously getting your participation. The last question I have is going to wrap up. What can Loyalty360 do to help you and your team on your customer loyalty journey? Are there certain things that we should be focusing on that can, help your team?
Yeah, I really think, from my standpoint at least, and feel free, Ryan, to jump in here, but, any of those benchmarks that you were mentioning, it's always great to be able to see kind of, what else is happening within the industry, and, what are some of the really great things that the other industry leaders are doing that they've seen success, or maybe some opportunities and challenges. The 360 awards is always a great opportunity to see those things. It's very high level often, so it's always great to have a little bit more of a deep dive into some of those things. And I know Loyalty360 already does a lot of that with these kinds of interviews and webinars, but that's really the area for me personally.
Okay.
Yeah, and if I could add on just real quick, Mark, during the 360 Awards, I had the pleasure of being on a panel with folks from 7-Eleven, which is just a wonderful chance to compare our programs and to talk through the challenges in a very collaborative fashion. And I think as program leaders that we have so much to learn from each other. And honestly, Loyalty360 is the only provider that I really know who has invested at such a rich level in the community, to be able to have these events and workshops and discussions. In the specific area that I would love to see is, would you ever consider pairing companies together with to informally work through an initiative? So, tackle this one. How would you approach this issue, or how do you approach trying to grow membership, or to retain spend, or to move to a digital platform, or personalization, and see if either from a volunteer basis, or if you're trying to thrust it upon certain companies, could a company like mine work with 7-Eleven again and look at personalization, and go offline and maybe have a couple of weeks to come back with a point of view that could then be shared. So it's not so much, like in a panel setting where you may be more off the cuff, but there's really been some work around specific things that we all struggle with, or looking at opportunities, and maybe could come back with almost kind of like mini white papers of how we broadly attacked with frameworks or perspective some of the biggest challenges that we have. I think there could be some really fun opportunity there for us to partner, helps us work on our networking, but gives something of value back to the other companies to say, yeah, that's something I'm interested in. Let me see how they went about doing it.
Yeah, definitely. Would love to talk to you about that offline. We have some new working groups looking at kind of what's next in customer loyalty, but I think even the smaller groups of 2 or 3 brands from a kind of an easy to coordinate perspective. Would love to talk to you about that. But I think that's very interesting for sure.
Great, thank you.
All right. Well, Melanie, Ryan, great talking to you as always. Looking forward to learning more and hearing more from Giant Foods later this year. And thanks for taking the time. And I'm sure we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. And thank you, Loyalty360. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Take care.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.